We're seeing pictures now of the Manning River, just a raging torrent, just a huge spread of water, obviously flooding areas now that haven't been flooded before. I'm just conscious of around the country, so many Australians being in drought at the moment in Western Victoria, Western New South Wales, in South Australia, not being aware perhaps that across the New South Wales coast in recent weeks, it's just been consistently wet. There's been so much rain. Sydney's been drowning. So your problem up there, further north, of course, is your country's completely waterlogged. So this water's got nowhere to go, and you're expecting a lot more rain in the coming days.
Absolutely. We are totally waterlogged. And the thing is that the summer wasn't too bad. It was a pretty normal summer as all things go, no major fire risks. And, the storms that came through weren't too bad. But realistically, from about early March onwards, we've just had this consistent rain just hanging around. And what are we now? We're in the end part of May, and here we are. It's still going. We're normally entering our dry period. So the waterlogging is just an absolute issue, and that's all the way up through the Barrington region, up through to Breadeye, which is on the way to Tamworth and Armidale. All the water up the top of that hill. It's got one place to go, and that's down in Taree. We've got a really unique and beautiful river system here, but when all the water comes down to this one spot, it's got nowhere to go. And we've seen how the river reacts in this area with flooding before. We know how it's done it. This has just changed the whole thing. I think I heard from someone of the SES today, the shoreline itself has moved in where the water ends up about 1.3 kilometres. So wow. It's just staggering. And people that have never had water in before, they have it now. My in-laws, for example, we're thinking of them. They live on the river down at Cundletown, but they've never had water. In 35 years, they've never had water anywhere near their house, and it's lapping at their door right at this moment. So, people like that, our thoughts and prayers with them and everyone else.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of the State Emergency Service, the Commissioner has just given an update. Here's some of what he had to say.
We currently have more than 100 flood warnings in place, with 23 of those being at emergency level. The New South Wales State Emergency Service continues to respond to record-breaking floods in the mid-north coast. If you are under an emergency warning currently, and it is safe to do so, I need you to evacuate now. I cannot stress enough that it is important to heed the warnings of evacuations. We've already seen over the past few nights rescue conditions being extremely difficult and dangerous, particularly at nightfall. We currently have a number of locations and communities that have received new warnings, emergency warnings to evacuate this afternoon. In particular, the Kempsey CBD, Smithtown and Gladstone areas are required to evacuate now. It is safe to do so.
Pretty clear warnings there, Jeremy. I really appreciate you talking to us. Of course, public safety is the number one issue. They're on the ground in Taree and in the area. Are you getting enough information? Is there enough help to make sure that people do get out of the flood zone rather than try and tough it out?
Look, in all honesty, I can't speak highly enough of the authorities up to this stage. The information flowing through on social media, text messages, we just got endless text messages, particularly across yesterday, about who needs to evacuate and what needs to be done. In all honesty, I guess some people didn't evacuate because they did not expect to get to where it was. We were doing sandbagging and preparing our clients on the 2 days ago for this. And we set it to the level just above the 2021 flood, which was our record. And we've gone a metre over that. So, I mean, some people might say there was complacency. I don't agree with that. We know this river. We know how it acts. And all of a sudden, we've been totally caught out. So the information from the community services and the government agencies to date has been fantastic. What we do need now, and I'll be quite honest about this, is leadership. We need to see some leadership from our state, federal, our mayor. We need to see those people step up and say, hey, what are you guys going to do for us now? I know it's still raining, there's still flood waters, we're going to be in this for a couple of days. But, if behind the scenes, if they're planning for what's going to happen to help Taree get through this, the community's damn anxious, mate. We are really anxious.
Yeah, you need to
know what they're doing to try and, guide us through this and just calm everyone down. But look, as far as response goes in the early stage, mate, quite happy.
Well said, Jeremy. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Jeremy Thornton there in Taree.
Good on you, Chris.
Taree, resident and business owner, and keep an eye on this. It's going to get worse in the coming days, and we'll be crossing to the Emergency Services Minister later in the program.